Hey, this is Reverend Bill, and today is Thursday, May 1st. It's about 5, just before 5:30 in the afternoon. Um, Now, today is a day we're waiting, I guess, for the Catholic cardinals to go in and select a pope, and there's a lot to be said for it. And I thought about doing a show on the likely selections, and I may still. Um, but I just wanted to make a statement before we get to that point. And I just see that there's a lot of work that we need to get to. And if people are thinking that we're doing well and we're all just a good pope away from smooth sailing ahead. I don't necessarily agree with that. Um, I see a lot of things wrong. And let me just state a few things that I think there's a lot of things going wrong. I think one of the things that's ironic is a lot of times things are put into our lives that are supposed to make things easier that actually end up doing the contrary of what they were originally assigned to do. And I think a lot of that are to do with technology and communication. I think they're supposed to make communication easier. Well, I will put forward that I think they've made a lot more difficulty in making communication possible. I go way back to the days of the '70s and '80s. And truth be told, probably back a little bit in the '60s too, um, where you had those minefields. You didn't have caller ID. You didn't have voicemail. The phone rings and you need a phone call. There was that. Oh, who is it? I need to get that phone call, but we don't know who it is. There's no voice machine, so if we're waiting for a phone call and we don't answer it, guess what happens? We risk missing our phone call. And it could be if it's a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a job or something, we got to answer the phone call. And if it's an insurance salesman, there you go. Anyway, those were the life back then. But I think what it did is it actually blocked us. Now that my children are not children anymore, back it seemed a funny hoax back then. When the children were in the living room, and cell phones were still somewhat newish from when my children were in school, and they were in middle school, and they were sitting across from each other in my living room, texting each other. It was funny. Haha, you're probably talking about daddy. They probably were, but it was blocking communication, and I think that what was kind of funny back then, a little bit cheeky, if you can say that, now is has actually put on some real social restraints, and I think. Um, well, that might be the last gasps of the generation that were struggling with uh, with communication. I mean, I do remember, my son who was extremely um, elder statesman of the Generation Z's, and he was asking me things like, "What's that tire?" Tied to that tree over the lake over there. And I had to explain to him, well, that was a summer full of fun and stuff like that. So he did struggle a little bit with the culture, and like I said, he's pushing 30 now. So he was the elder statesman there, and now I got to tell you, I honestly do wonder if kids know how to date. Um, I'm seeing patterns as I get older. I'm 60 now, and I certainly knew how to date when I was younger, and I'm just not seeing that. I'm seeing kids hang together, but I'm seeing a lot of um, I'm seeing a lot of anger on the sides of younger women, and I'm attributing that to, and by the way, this is not any kind of a case study where I've gone out there and I'm undercover or anything like that. This is just a guy just observing things as I'm getting older. Like I said, I used to date. I'm seeing a lot of women that seem to be lonely and angry. Um, I see a lot of guys that back in our day, um, when women were kind of, women, you always had to work for women. I mean, women weren't, easy to get. You had to always, wonder how to make them happy. Do you go get them a little cup of coffee if they're a secretary, or, find out what kind of, like, egg McMuffin they like, and if you're going in the morning and they're a secretary or something like that. Yeah, I mean, you always try to make them to make them think you remember them. That's how you get them. I don't know if they remember these things. I don't know if women remember how to be spoiled, to be honest with you. Back in my day, we used to open doors for women. I don't know if women know how to appreciate that, because even in my day, a couple of times I would date a woman and I would know she was very, very angry, and I wouldn't understand that. But the weird thing is, you would think that because she was angry, maybe it's because she wouldn't date much, that she would be grateful for being on a date. But believe it or not, it was the opposite. And I would get a lot of anger from her, where you would think she would be happy to be on a date because she'd want to date more often. Instead, although it doesn't make much sense, I would get a lot of resentment. But then, believe it or not, after I had one of the worst dates of my life because of all this resentment, at the end, and this happened a couple of times, I found that they were very happy with the date, and I was miserable. So I would feel like I was being tortured through the date, and at the end of it, on both times, they seemed like, yeah, let's do this again. And I was, no, no, I'm really good. So that was pretty interesting. But I think that's a good example, though, in that I think more and more of that's happening. And I was not prone to go back on a date with her if my life depended on it, either one of them. And I guess that's kind of a good example of what I'm talking about. I'm seeing that in a lot of younger generations, and the internet, and I think a lot of these social networks are offering alternatives to dating. And I don't think that's a good thing, because I think that that's what the devil wants. I think the devil is looking to find other things, because I think that the family unit, the nuclear family, is paramount and very important to the Lord and to keep the family together. I think that when you're finding other things to do, whether it's to go out with your friends and go out with your family, that's one of the reasons. If I talk to a young couple that's married, and they want to have a girls' night out or a guys' night out, I'll be very, very, very careful with that one. I would not recommend that. And as far as having a guy go out with a girl, have as friends a night a week, absolutely not. No, not now, not ever. I mean, that's just planning a breakup, is what that's doing. And I really believe that a family should stay together as a family unit. And the more you start picking away at it, well, it'll just do a guy's night or a girl's. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, I can't say you can never. You just got to be careful, because you're having a guy's night and then a girl's night, and then what happens? Does a guy start coming out with the girl's night, and then you can't say who's to go out with? It's just asking for trouble. I think the family unit needs to stay a family unit as much as possible. And I would suggest, instead of worrying about the Pope so much, how about something very simple? How about start with having a Sunday meal together, like we used to have? Bring the family in for a Sunday meal. If they're dating someone seriously, have them come by the house. I mean, these are the kind of things that I think we need to get back to, that I think that they're not doing. And I think the devil is trying to separate people, is trying to isolate people, give them separate things that they want to do. I've been married a few times, and I gotta tell you, I think one of the signs of when my marriage is falling together is when we decided to start doing things separately from each other. Little things, vacation separately, going to visit in-laws separately. I think once you start getting away from doing things as a family, that you're really it's bad. So I mean, I really think that we need as a family to get back to doing things as a family, and I think that's where it is. I think children need to get back to dating. This is stuff that we know. So instead of worrying about what a woman is, or and I got to tell you, this is what I think the devil wants. He likes to distract us. There was a trans man who was jealous how beautiful a woman she was, so he killed her. That was just in the news this morning. I think it was the New York Post. You can check. So let's just close the book on, is this normal or not? It's not normal. We shouldn't worry about it anymore. We should worry about Jesus and what he wants from us. We need to worry about bringing our family together. The nuclear family, all this stuff that is just noise, is what it is, and we shouldn't, we shouldn't ignore it. I'll tell you something else too. I'll tell you a little story that I talked to someone today, and they were really moved very much to follow Christ. And I said to them, you've always been very. So I've known you for a few years now, but you've always been very much devoted to Christ. But you've taken it another notch in the last year or so. I mean, is it just me? I mean, you seem really committed, more so than ever. So, without question, yes. I said, what is this? What energized you so? And he goes, he's like, easy, you. And he goes, not really you. He said, but you are in a terrible state now. We were here fighting for you, and to see the stuff that the Lord did for you, I've never seen the Lord operate like that. And he said, you were just in so much need. The stuff that the Lord did to help you out. I mean, how can you not be absolutely committed when you see the Lord act like that? And I said, that's pretty amazing. I said, I didn't do anything. He goes, oh no, it's nothing to do with you, except you were just a guy in need. But he said, watching the Lord work the way he did is, he said, that would change anyone's mind. I said, well, I'm glad that I helped in some way, even though if I was the subject, but I'm glad. It's true though. The Lord has helped me in tremendous ways that really have made a lot of people open their eyes, and that's why I feel like I should do this podcast. If I can help anybody out there, I want to. Anyway, that's it for now. So I just wanted to just kind of make that statement that we're waiting for this change that's supposed to be universal. I got to tell you, looking around, there's some changes we could do. And the first one is just to bring Jesus into our house and forget about all the nonsense. And we can make some very, very big, significant changes. We just bring Jesus and our family together under a roof. And that would just make all the difference to us infinitely. Thank you. This is Reverend Bill signing off again. Have a very good rest of the day.